All right. Back onto the agenda. Members of the committee, you now have before you House Joint Resolution 43. The clerk will read the title of the bill.
House Joint Resolution 43, introduced by Representative Wiseman. A joint resolution of the Senate and the House of Representatives of the State of Montana requesting that the Legislative Finance Committee conduct an evaluation of the system requirements for developing a state website that would provide state budget information in a user-friendly manner to the public. Mr. Chairman.
Members of the committee, you now have before you in its entirety House Joint Resolution 43. What is your pleasure? Representative Wiseman.
Mr. Chairman, I move that when this committee does rise and report after having had under consideration House Joint 43, it recommend the same do pass. Mr. Chairman.
Representative Wiseman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this bill is to wash the mud off of what has become a partisan football. The notion of transparency and accountability in government by creating a budget website where citizens can look into state spending is an idea whose time has come. There's no question that we can hook up a website where citizens can query our budget and revenue numbers. But we have to get past the indefensible idea that we can get something for nothing. It's true that we on the Taxation Committee last week tabled a previous effort to implement this idea, and we did so for good reason. To demonstrate what a partisan football this idea has become, here is this morning's opinion page from the Bozeman Daily Chronicle. Some gentleman from something called the Montana Policy Institute holds forth, saying that the governor is attempting to block our effort here, and that he is, quote, leaning on House Democrats to follow suit. This is shortly after the gentleman says that this is not a partisan issue. I am embarrassed and offended that my hometown paper would print such an ignorant, unfounded, unverified, and uncorroborated accusation about the subject of this resolution. The House Taxation Committee tabled with a bipartisan vote the effort that was brought before us to implement this idea, and we certainly did not get leaned on, presumably because the governor's office has more important things to do with their time, like solve the budget and property tax crises that face this body. We tabled that bill, members of the committee, because it was a poor effort, thinly thought out, not at all well crafted, and it obscured and hid how much that website would cost to build, who would build it, and what would be the ongoing operational and budget responsibilities to run it. And it set up our own legislative staff down on the first floor to fail because it gave them big new responsibility but no authority and no budget. But it did give them the added bonus of an oversight committee to question them continually about why they couldn't do something with nothing. Members of the committee, if I were the project engineer who got handed that gem, I would say no, because it was about as guaranteed a disaster as I've seen in the information technology world. Here we have before us a path to succeed. If you'll read the resolution, it sets forth a way to have a successful IT project. It requires us, this body, to be transparent and to be accountable about how we're going to decree a new computer system. So here's your chance. Let's have a transparent path to transparency, an accountable construction project to build accountability, and a budget that is real, that is not guessed at, a project that can, in fact, succeed. If you want transparency and accountability, this is your last chance. Mr. Chairman.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, sponsors closed. Sponsors closed. The question now arises on the motion of Representative Wiseman. When this committee does rise and report, after having had under consideration House Joint Resolution 43, recommends same do pass. Those in favor vote aye. Those opposed vote no. Clerk will read the absentee.
Representative Bonnet voting no.
Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Not. Clerk record the vote.
Mr. Chairman, 68 voting aye, 24 voting no.
House Joint Resolution 43 is passed. Members of the committee, you now have before you Senate Bill 343. The clerk will read the title of the bill.
Senate Bill 343, introduced by Senator Jackson, carried by Representative Taylor. A bill for an act entitled